Okay, I'm here with Manu at simware.eu and we're going to talk about VR. A lot of people are interested in VR, especially this year. A lot of the games supporting VR, like Assetto Corsa EVO, coming out. This is a Pimax Crystal Light headset, which is a new headset, relatively new headset from Pimax. I think it's interesting to see, well, you actually tell me, you've seen a lot of people come here and try it.
Yeah.
Are people being sick when they try it, or taking it off, or are they just getting in and racing? I don't know.
No, mostly it goes pretty easily because I was a bit scared to do this on the fair.
Yeah.
But it goes very well.
And you're selling them as well. How are you seeing like the sale of these headsets? Is it very small, or is actually people buying it?
No, there is a demand for it. More and more. Also, not only for racing, also flight simulator.
Okay.
That's a very big market.
Do you see people placing because you're selling a lot of equipment from lots of different brands like SimMagic and everyone else? Are you seeing people place orders as a bundle, and you can see sometimes, or?
No.
Okay.
No, not
Okay.
that really.
That'll be interesting to like. Oh, this is what kind of wheel they're using and everything, or like they do a lot of Formula racing or GT racing. So in terms of the setup, I'm interested to see that most people had it without issues, because I know one of the criticisms of VR is that to get the sweet spot right and the IPD, but maybe the headsets are getting a bit better in terms of the lenses, that you can actually put it on and have a basic good experience. But I don't know what your experience has been here at the expo.
Well, we try to stand here and to put them on right, because it's very important to have it in the right position.
With the top strap especially.
Yeah, the top strap in the back, the headrest. So the IPD, very important. That's sometimes neglected, but we really need to have that on the correct way, because otherwise the image will not be good. Yeah.
And have you seen people kind of looking around a lot, or does it seem natural? Because it's interesting, because I find once you're in VR, I tend to be just more very natural. But
no, lots of people are just curious what to see in the car, because they never saw the back of the car.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you're in because of the field of view, you suddenly can see all the car, and it's all this stuff that the developers have designed, but normally you can't see it.
That you miss otherwise.
Has it been a popular setup as well in terms of people?
Yeah, they're really curious what it brings extra to racing.
And talking VR in 2025, like I said, there's a lot of sim racing titles that have, are adding it or have it. Le Mans Ultimate has just added it. AC Evo's got it. iRacing is really good in VR. Even ACC has it as well. So people might be thinking about doing it when they're buying their PC and the equipment. I would say, this is what I would say, is that if you're going to buy a VR headset, it's good to know what type of cars you like driving, because if you drive a type of car and you have the rim for that type of car, it's very immersive. So we've got someone here at the moment who's driving the McLaren GT3 or GT3, isn't it? McLaren GT3, and they're using the it's a GT Neo.
The Conspit, the 290 GP.
Yeah, 290, which has the GT form factor. This is the one where the buttons are a bit chamfered outwards, so it's easy to press. And that's going to be a very nice experience where your brain is just going to think you're in the car.
It's connected.
But if you're in a round wheel, it's going to be different. Like where your hands are on the screen, it's the same here. It's not leaving. So that's important, I think, to know.
No, sure.
It's also important to know what kind of sim you want to drive in as well, I think, and try it out. So it's really cool at an expo that you can come and try out VR, and you'll know whether you like it or not like it, because it's not for everyone, but I think some people are going to really like it. The other thing that's interesting here is that you've got lots of setups that have very big monitors here, and in a house that's going to, you can't be so much in the corner. But here, people have said it's like a kid's rig or something, but it's just a very compact rig, isn't it? This is a Conspit rig. It's just the one that is quite foldable or portable, isn't it? I think a little bit. You can slide the pedals back and.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not really made as portable, but it's
more
a compact one.
Yeah. I'm just really intrigued about whether in 2025 we're going to see people think, when I want to buy my equipment, my wheel, my wheelbase, my pedals, I also want to choose my headset.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that I guess you're a retailer of Pimax.
Yeah.
So people can also buy that when it comes in. Maybe we can look at the headset a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is the Crystal Light. So this is a headset from Pimax that is, well, if it wasn't light, it wouldn't make sense, right? I think maybe someone else wants to try, but.
Can I try?
Sure.
Maybe we can just see how you roughly kind of adjust as well.
English? Oh ja, hij is Nederlands, ja.
There's a little wheel here. Oh yeah. There you go. Adjust the IPD for the lenses. So
Oh, yeah.
you have the lenses straight in front of your
So,
eyes. All right.
so the IPD is where your pupils are in your eyes, and you want to move the lenses so the sweet spot of the lens is going to be right there, because if it isn't, it's going to be a little bit blurry, or potentially quite a lot blurry. So it's good people know that this is the thing, and then it's quite simple to move right and left. The other thing is the top strap, I think, is quite important. If you don't do the top strap, the headset can start to slip down, put pressure on the nose as well, which can be quite irritating, and you don't want to be in there going over a bump as you're getting shaken a bit by the force feedback, and then the headset drops a little bit. But what I find most interesting when people come into VR, maybe from the first time, is that when your hands are locked into the wheel and you go, it's just like a one-to-one experience. Like, you don't need to be explained. It's very intuitive. You look and you see, you move the wheel and you see. It's not like you have to learn, and it's probably the easiest thing in sim racing to make a
to
step.
adapt.
Yeah, there is no. I would say I'm pretty confident saying there is no complicated step in learning how to drive in VR, really.
No.
It can be complicated how to set up the headset, how to get the frame rate right, and all these things. Like, that still can be improved. But the actual step, you don't have to relearn how to drive in VR, you just put it on.
Also, it's important where to put the head strap to balance out
Yeah.
the weight. If you don't have it in a good way, the headset will feel heavy and will hang.
The interesting thing here is that there's just enough clearance where it's not hitting the back of the seat, whereas the other headsets, if they have more at the back, you can hit the back of the seat. Yeah, so it's important to know there's just one cable. But I'm intrigued. I want to know in the comments if you've been trying VR or you're tempted to try it. I would say if you can try it, then you're just going to know. And then it's about choosing the right headset for you. But it's not going to be a case of it's going to be difficult to drive in VR, or you're not going to be able to work it out. It's going to be even more natural, I think, than looking at a screen. So the field of view is not quite right on the screen because it's representing the thing. But if you have a look how narrow the horizon is on the screen, it's like a few pixels, really. But in VR, because it's in 3D and you perceive the depth, it's a lot nicer. So yeah, it's great you've got this set up here. I'm sure it's like another piece of equipment you need to take. But it's great to hear that there's been queues of people wanting to try it. And I mean, someone's just got on set up here in like a minute, basically. So.
But in the beginning, it's harder to drive in VR if you
Used to it
drove
one time.
a lot before, because your braking points will be on a different space. Because now it depends on
The field of view as well.
where your
Yeah.
head looks at to have your braking points.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much, Manu, explaining and getting people set up in the VR headset. I think it's so many people here will have, like hundreds of people, I guess, right? Minimum.
Yeah, there was a long queue.
Have maybe tried VR for the first time, and might be the start of the journey. Because I think 2025 is going to be super exciting for VR. Lots of headsets as well. So yeah, let us know your thoughts on VR.